how are you hedging your bets to profit and survive that economic and change in the world that you see coming?
It goes right back to commodities. Because in that world where, one of their main things obviously is climate change. And I'm not someone that's going to say that climate change is right or wrong or man-made or not man-made. Your audience can decide that
Climate
for
changes.
themselves.
Let's just
But
agree on that. Yeah.
but I can tell you that the global elite don't care about polar bears.
Right.
They don't care about the temperature in the ocean. It's all just a ruse. It's a Trojan horse to help them achieve those Malthusian objectives and the power, control, and wealth. And then we go back to the Kissinger quote. How do you control countries? Well, you control the energy. And how do you control the population? You control the food. And we can see that kind of play out with all the food shortages and energy prices going sky high. And then with them, again, controlling that narrative, which I think they're going to do more and more through this quote unquote disinformation and
Hmm.
this basically war on freedom of speech and this push towards censorship. But that's kind of a completely separate topic. But if you look at how they're trying to get from A to B with the Green New Deal as an example, with
Hmm.
trying to completely uh, stop using fossil fuels, which goes right back to lead. Remember, and the whole ESG movement. Well, why is it that why is or one of the reasons I'll say, not the entire reason, but one of the main reasons why energy prices are so high today is because of the ESG movement, because no capital went into sourcing more supply. So, sure, you can sit there and say how dirty coal is. And sure, you can sit there and say how we shouldn't invest in natural gas. And then you can sleep well at night. You can look yourself in the mirror and pat yourself on the back thinking that you're doing good. But at the end of the day, that's going to mean much, much, much higher prices. And that's going to mean that the poor and the middle class suffer to a greater degree. And that means lower GDP growth. And that means that the standard of living for society goes down because energy is the economy. If you looked at a chart, Rich, of the global population, you'll see it just kind of exponential growth like that.
Hockey stick.
But
Yeah.
if you put that up against a chart with GDP does the same thing, but do that with energy use.
Hmm.
And energy does the exact same thing. So if you don't have that energy increasing at the same rate, you cannot increase GDP, and that's going to lower the standard of living. But my point there is everything that they're pushing as far as their narrative is going to lead to higher and higher commodity prices, not just with energy, coal. Uranium is another thing that I really, really like right now,
Hmm.
but it's also going to lead to the soft commodities increasing in price because unfortunately we're going to see massive shortages. I mean, look at what's happening in Sri Lanka right now. Their government is completely imploding because they can't get diesel. They just cannot get fuel because they don't have the dollars because for a variety of different reasons. But I think
Hmm.
that's going to get a lot better that's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. So if you want an investment theme around the Great Reset agenda, it would be buy commodities, but maybe not now. Wait till there's panic, wait till the price really goes down, and use that as a buying opportunity for this, what I think will contribute to this long-term super cycle.
What are the commodities that you like the best? You talked about uranium, coal. Is there
Yeah, the
anything
two
else?
those are the two I like the best: coal and uranium.
And you like
Um,
uranium for the purpose of nuclear power plants?
yeah, because I think that's going to be their only option, and you
It
can
really
already
has
see
been
that.
their only option. Like I find it's funny when you see these guys that think that electric cars are the solution, and they think that there's like fields of windmills and solar panels that are collecting the electricity to charge up these cars, but they don't realize like probably 95% of the electricity comes from coal and whatever nuclear plants are still running. But I think there's a lot of people that are afraid of nuclear still. Although you're right, it's really the only prudent source of hardcore, reliable energy that's relatively cheap and safe. Even though a
Yeah,
lot
and
of people still don't think
ironically
it's
enough,
safe.
it's a lot greener than
It is. It's very
something
green.
like natural gas or something that we've tried to replace it with.
Biomass has been a big one that's been blowing up over the last few years, which is really just cutting down forests and burning the wood.
Yeah,
They
biofuels.
call it
Yeah,
they
you
call
know
it
what's
biomass to make it sound environmentally friendly, but it's just tearing down trees and burning them.
Yeah, yeah. One of the charts I've used to illustrate what we've been discussing quite extensively is a chart of energy use broken down by the specific energy source,
Mm-hmm.
going back to like 1800. And it's that exponential, like we said. But back in 1800, like the number one source, probably 99% of our fuel came from biofuels. To your point, it was either lumber or dried cow dung, really.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to oil, petroleum. Then we go to coal, then natural gas, then wind, solar, and nuclear. But what you'll notice is that we never use less of the prior energy source. So, said another way, today in 2022, we are using more biofuel than we did in the year 1800,
Yeah.
when it was 100% pretty much of the energy we used. We don't use less of it. We just use more and more and more, which allows the economy to grow and allows the standard of living to increase. So those people that say that we need to replace oil with solar, you don't know what you're talking about. We don't need to replace things. We need to make sure that our energy sources continue to grow exponentially. If we don't have that, then what you're going to have is just you're going to kill billions of people on Earth, and you're going to lower the standard of living for everyone else, and it's going to get really ugly really quick if you flatten out the energy source but yet keep the population growing exponentially. They've got that's one thing I'll give them credit for, like Bill Gates and Klaus. They've got the problem correct. It's just their solution is wildly wrong. My solution would be let the free market fix this. It's been fixing it since Malthus came out with his ideas in 1800. Because if the population goes from 7 billion to 9 billion, what Bill Gates forgets to tell you is that's an additional 2 billion people on this planet that can solve the problem. And if you just deregulate, if you just let the people, just do what they do and pursue their own self-interest, going back to Atlas Shrugged, you're going to solve these Malthusian problems. But it's not going to come from a top-down approach. It's got to be from a decentralized, bottom-up, free market capitalist approach.
Yeah, but you're asking these elites to step aside and let the markets do their thing, and they don't like doing that.
Yeah.
They're always going to try to meddle.
It crushes their worldview, because their
Yeah.
worldview is based pretty much in eugenics, with this idea that they are superior
Yeah, they
in
think
pretty
they're
much
gods.
every way. So if they can't solve the problem, there's no way they can expect anyone else to solve the problem, because everyone else is inferior to them.
Yeah, and I think it all is predicated on breeding fear, whether it's fear around the environment, climate change, the food, viruses.
Look
There's
at
a new
what they're
one.
doing to the free range chickens in
Yeah,
the United. Have you read into that? I mean, that is very disturbing. They're
yeah.
killing them by the millions because they're saying that they're scared of another bird flu, and that it's like,
Well, we
really,
have a
are
new
we
one that
really
just came
scared of
out
that, or are you
recently.
just
I don't know
trying to
if you
make sure
heard the
people can't feed
monkeypox.
themselves?
I don't know if you heard about the new one that just came out. It's called the monkeypox.
I heard about that this morning somewhere. Yeah.
That's you guys are going to be hearing a lot about that over the next few weeks, because the whole cerveza sickness has played itself out, and people aren't really buying it anymore, so they have to cook up a new one.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Back to the commodities with coal and uranium. Are there any companies that you like? I have my pen ready so I can jot down and add it to my watch list.
No, I need to get back on that bandwagon. I've been so busy that back in March of 2020, I wanted to buy these things, so I bought just the ETFs because I didn't have time to research it. So I
Mm.
bought URA, which is an ETF for uranium, and I bought the coal ETF, which at the time was KOL, and it was paying like some outrageous dividend yield, like 15%. So
Mm.
with coal, what happened is it like tripled or quadrupled in price, but for some reason it was so unpopular that they stopped it. They just discontinued the ETF, and that's a
Mm.
great contrarian indicator in and of itself, right
Mm.
there. But now I'm looking for some other coal plays when they come down, but I don't have any specific ones. I would look at producers, maybe in the United States, but hate to say Australia. Usually those are the ones that pay the great dividends. But I think people just have to do some homework there. Also, if you guys want to follow Chris McIntosh on Twitter, he's at Capitalist Exploits, I believe is his handle. He's one of the people I partner with in Rebel Capitalist Pro, and he's been a hedge fund manager for over 20 years, and he is really neck deep in the commodity space, especially with coal and uranium. And he has a lot of those specific companies that he suggests. As far as uranium, though, I can give you a good one there, and that would just be the Sprott Uranium Trust. And what's interesting is usually if you want to go long uranium, you've got to go through a producer, but you're taking on additional risk there because you've got a management team, you've got a capital structure, you've got you've got the risk of whatever country the uranium producer, maybe they nationalize the mine, who knows what happens. So you've got government risk there as well. But if you can actually buy the commodity itself, then you eliminate all that risk. That's the pure play. You go long uranium. Prior to Sprott setting up this trust, that wasn't possible. But now it is. You just buy shares of their trust. And what they do is they actually buy the physical uranium and they store it.
So you don't have to store a radioactive product in your
in your garage next to your McLaren 720.
Hey guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that short clip. If you did, consider supporting the creation of content by checking out my supplement line. Pinned in the top comment below of this video in the comments, there's a link to the unpluggedalpha.com/shop. When you click through, you'll be able to land over here, and the entire lineup is broken down by category that it performs best in: estrogen metabolism, fat burning, your foundational essentials for health, immune health, performance, and testosterone support. If you check out with coupon code ALPHA10, you'll get 10% off on your first order. There's also the option to use the subscribe and save model, where regular shipments will be sent over to you on a regular basis, and that gives you a little bit of a discount, and your supplement facts are always broken down over here. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have an awesome day. And again, check out that link. It's pinned in the top comment below in this video. Peace out.